We're going to have a lively, casual conversation here, Tisha, and I'm honored that you're willing to spend part of your Friday evening with us. So thank you for that. So why don't you go ahead and give yourself an introduction?
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I am Tisha Hammond. People call me the small business cheerleader, and I bring you greetings from the great state of Michigan, where it is dark outside right now. And I am someone who was able to retire at the age of 41 years old. Went from working from an employer to making that employer my first customer through federal contracting. You know, Bruce, I really just like to describe myself as a woman who woke up to understand that I had some measure of influence, and that I had to be responsible with that and do my part to share a message. And the message that I literally get to share every day in what I do is that people can influence their own personal and local economies through small business development. It's as easy as that.
It sounds very easy, but for some of us that are on that journey, it may not feel it sometimes. So I'm intrigued. You said you woke up. What kind of happened? What was your awakening, Tisha?
Oh, yeah. The awakening really was political, socio-economical. I'm a big news junkie. And somewhere around 2015, I just got sick and tired of really being sick and tired of seeing what was happening in the world around us. At the same time, I was also in a profession where I was doing counseling every day, and employees in this position I was in would come to me with workplace concerns. And at some point I found myself after years and years just asking, you know, if you weren't here, what would you be doing? Most of the answers were, I'd be doing something I love. I'd be working for myself. I'd have my own business. And at some point I had to ask myself that question. If I weren't here, what would I be doing? And it just took me back to, oh, I did happen to go to college and study business. Oh, you know, my mom was a business owner throughout my adolescence. I did learn some stuff from her. And I really want some more flexibility, and I want to call myself boss one of these days. Went into a series of self-study in 2015. And actually launched a business in the state of Michigan. And there's a whole backstory of tragedy behind this business launch. Sometimes though, tragedy creates some very amazing things.
What type of business were you in when you were doing all of the counseling? And that must have been exhausting, Tisha.
Well, it really was in some ways mentally, but I don't like the word, but it was exhausting mentally, and I still loved what I did. So I spent 21 years in a federal law enforcement career. And some things, like I'm a storyteller, but some stories I just can't tell, right? However, the last half of my career was spent as an equal employment opportunity counselor. And so I would be assigned various workplace concerns where people believe there was discrimination underlying their concern, and just, you know, educate people through that process.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I love that. The uniform, the badge, and the gun. That's a visual. So, well, we appreciate your service, because I know it's not easy. And before we hopped on live here, we were actually talking about how tiring it is being on video and doing active listening and multitasking. And so I don't know how you did counseling all day long. That must have been just unbelievably exhausting. So
I still do it. It's still a major component of the business that I'm in through federal contracting work. I'm able to do that same job, but more on my terms.
Okay. And it's more on your terms. I think it's all virtual, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Right. So you don't have to go to where the work is at. You can take the work with you. Is that?
Yeah, and a lot of it is just telephonic and having conversations and trying to be a neutral liaison between various parties to try to bring a dispute, into resolution if there can be any.